and just we here from the garden. We're back to a new Simpsons review. And this episode, oh boy, this episode though is very funny. And we see Homer and Bart actually naked. Yeah, naked. The overall taboos, if you think, and thankfully it's just really Homer and Bart that we see like that. So the episode starts with Bart pretty much complaining of why he can't, or that they don't have of the stuff that the neighbors have. And yeah, that's pretty much rubbing on. Eventually we see that the neighbors have this huge RV. And yeah, that gives the idea for Homer to go and get an RV for his family, which he eventually comes over to this van seller, and they see this massive van, like it's massive, and we see the inside, and man, it just feels like a house because it has everything. Like it literally has everything. So Homer and Bob, I think his name was, go to talk about it. And yeah, Homer obviously can't afford it with his, well, he just can't afford it. So he shows him a vehicle that suits his budget, and yeah, it's a mess, which he eventually does decide to take. He tries to rub it in, which him and his family go out in nature, eventually going into driving in a lake, eventually driving onto a cliff, telling everybody to not panic, and he eventually talks to himself and said that he's gotten everyone killed. So they eventually start making shelter. They're stranded until they can find help. It's one of those plots. Like Club SpongeBob. And Homer and Bart try to go get help, and they see Maggie, and they think it's a monster. So Homer tells Bart to run. They eventually end up falling into a waterfall, or falling off a cliff into a river. Maggie come across some bears, which she sticks a pacifier into the bear. And then we see Homer is naked. So as Bart, both naked. The bear takes Maggie to the other bears, pretty much. So Bart and Homer get some leaves to cover up their naked selves. And they try to find some food. Some tactic, whatever you want to call it, to try to find some food. Which he does the old, I don't know what you call it, but, you can say what he's doing. Bart actually thinks that Homer is trying to make them hang themselves. Yeah, another suicide joke, which I'm not surprised. Which they're trying to get a rabbit, but it backfires. So he says, once he gets a rabbit, he wants Bart to step on it. He goes into some bushes, but we see raccoons and rabbits start biting Homer. Eventually, Maggie just starts to have a lot of baby toys and basically being not harmed by all these bears. Yeah, not being harmed. Marjorie and Lisa are very concerned and curious what's taking them so long. Bart and Homer. And if Maggie isn't slowing them down. Which they go to sleep, and Homer and Bart go to sleep. Maggie goes to sleep. Homer finds some honey, but he ends up eating some bees as well, which sting his mouth, making him basically numb, which he ends up falling into some mud, and this gets on the news, thinking that it's Bigfoot. Yeah. And the news is talking about it. It ends up getting footage of Homer. And yeah, it's just... And even a reward. Even a reward for capturing it alive. And yeah, everybody in Springfield is making it like a big deal. Even though in reality it's just Homer, because he just fell into some mud because of some bees. Which Marjorie does see the papers, and she sees that it's Homer. Which we get some funny jokes here. Like, she married Bigfoot. Bigfoot's wife calls him Homer. The Bigfoot dirt. Pork chops. And then they tell these bears to get because they're filming, which it turns out Maggie was on those bears. And Bart and Homer end up smelling some food, but it turns out they go into a cave with the bears. Maggie tells the bears to stop, which she reunites with her mom, or with her dad, and Bart. But it only ends up with Bart and Homer and Maggie basically heading back, and Homer getting captured and shot with a tranquilizer dart and getting knocked out and being studied on. Yeah, they're taking it this seriously. Him getting studied. Which they do, of course, end up releasing him. And yeah, just Homer is like why and stuff. But yeah, this episode was very funny. I just loved that. It's one of those episodes where characters end up lost in the forest, lost in nature due to some incident. And again, kind of like with Club SpongeBob and lots of other cartoons. Yeah, this one was really funny. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Catch y'all next one.